chosen one. Inside their own ranks, the cult members are now at odds, arguing over who is to blame for the mess created by coming up against you. While you moved forward unseen, a shadow war erupted without you present. The scapegoat is isolated, predictions failed, victory never existed. You did not fight, you existed, trusted, and kept walking. That obedience unraveled everything completely and permanently. You were minding your business, living your life. You probably didn't even know these people existed or what they were capable of. But something about you caught their attention. Maybe it was your light. Maybe it was your success. Maybe it was the way opportunities seemed to find you. Maybe it was the love you received. Maybe it was the peace you walked in. Whatever it was, certain people couldn't stand it. They looked at you and felt something dark rise up inside them. Not admiration, not inspiration, envy, pure toxic envy that made them sick. And that's when the meetings started. That's when the phone calls began. That's when people started gathering in secret, talking about you like you were a problem that needed to be solved. Some of these people you knew, some you'd trusted, some had smiled in your face while plotting behind your back. Others you'd never even met, but they'd heard about you, seen you online, watched you from a distance, and decided you had something they wanted or something that needed to be taken from you. A crew formed, a cult of haters with a shared mission: take you down, block your blessings, destroy your peace, make you suffer. And everyone thought they were being smart about it. Everyone thought they were covering their tracks. Everyone thought their secret meetings and coded conversations were untraceable. But the universe was recording everything. Your ancestors were taking notes, and the karma they were creating was building like a tsunami waiting to crash. What you need to understand is how systematic this operation was. This wasn't random hatred. This wasn't spontaneous jealousy. People organized themselves like a military campaign. Someone took the role of coordinator, making sure everyone stayed on the same page. Someone else became the researcher, digging up everything they could find about you, your history, your family, your weaknesses, your patterns, your schedule. They were building a file on you like you were a target for assassination. And in a way, you were. They wanted to assassinate your character, your reputation, your peace of mind, your future. People sat in those meetings and discussed tactics. Who would approach you with fake friendship? Who would spread rumors in your community? Who would try to sabotage your professional relationships? Who would work on blocking your financial opportunities? They divided up responsibilities like a corporate project team, except the project was your destruction. Some people were assigned to watch your social media, not just casually scrolling, deep diving, screenshotting, analyzing, looking for anything they could use against you, looking for patterns in when you posted and what you shared, looking for clues about your emotional state, looking for vulnerabilities they could exploit. They created group chats where they would share what they found, where they discussed what it all meant, where they planned their next moves based on what you revealed online. Others were tasked with infiltration, getting close to people in your circle, befriending your friends, dating your acquaintances, showing up in your spaces, all with the goal of gathering intelligence, all with the purpose of positioning themselves where they could do maximum damage when the time came. They were playing a long game, patient, calculated, willing to invest months or even years if that's what it took. The level of obsession was truly disturbing. They were thinking about you more than they thought about their own lives. They were spending more energy on destroying you than on building themselves. They were investing more resources into your downfall than into their own success, and that's why everything is falling apart for them now. Because while they were focused on you, their own lives were being neglected, their own relationships were crumbling, their own opportunities were passing them by, their own foundations were weakening, but they couldn't see it. They were too consumed, too blinded by jealousy, too obsessed with the idea that if they could just remove you from the picture, everything would be better for them. They convinced themselves that you were the obstacle between them and their blessings, that you were somehow stealing what rightfully belonged to them. that the universe was showing you favoritism instead of blessing them. They couldn't accept that you were blessed because of who you are, because of the work you've done, because of the alignment you've maintained, because of the protection you carry. They wanted to believe it was luck, coincidence, connections, anything except the truth that you're operating on a different spiritual level than they are. Anything except the reality that you're chosen and they're not. This is where it gets really crazy. These people didn't just gossip about you, they didn't just wish bad things on you. They actually invested money into trying to curse you. Real money. Money they needed for bills, money they should have been using to take care of their own lives. But they were so obsessed with bringing you down that they found practitioners who work in darkness, witch doctors, occultists, people who perform rituals for a price, and they paid multiple times. They brought your pictures, they brought your name written on paper. Some of them even had personal items they'd stolen from you or collected. They sat in circles while these practitioners called on dark entities. They participated in ceremonies meant to bind you, to confuse you, to drain your energy, to make you sick, to lead you into traps. They wanted to cloud your judgment so you'd trust the wrong people. They wanted to make you weak so you'd give up on your dreams. They wanted to destroy your mind so you'd self-destruct. They were doing this on specific moon cycles, traveling back and forth to these practitioners like it was their second job. Some of them were driving hours to get to these people. Some of them were flying to different states. They were coordinating their schedules around ritual dates. They were that committed to your destruction. They were organizing their entire lives around finding ways to harm you. That's obsession on a psychotic level. Some of them were doing their own rituals at home. They had altars set up with your pictures on them. They were burning candles with your name carved into the wax. They were writing your name on paper and burying it in graveyards. They were making puppets and doing things to them. They were calling on entities they didn't even fully understand, thinking they were powerful enough to control dark forces, thinking they were smart enough to harm you without consequences. Can you imagine the level of hatred it takes to do that? Can you imagine sitting in a room, participating in a ritual designed to harm someone who never did anything to you? That's not normal jealousy, that's demonic. That's a level of darkness that most people can't even comprehend. But they did it, and they thought it was working. They thought they were powerful. They thought their magic was going to destroy you. They had no idea they were creating a karma bomb that was about to explode in their own faces. If this message activated your knowing, hype this video to connect with more chosen ones on this journey. Every single spell they cast bounced off you like bullets off steel. Every ritual they performed backfired before it even reached you. Every dark entity they called up took one look at your spiritual protection and turned around. Because, chosen one, you're not regular. You're not just another person walking around hoping for the best. You carry bloodline protection that goes back generations. You have ancestors who were warriors, healers, priestesses, prophets. You have spiritual forces assigned to you that these people could never compete with. Your ancestors saw this coming before you were even born. They set up protection around your bloodline that activates automatically when you're under attack. They built spiritual fortresses around you that cannot be penetrated by human magic or demonic interference. They assigned guardian spirits to watch over you day and night. And the moment these people started their rituals, the moment they spoke your name with ill intent, your protection activated and went to work. They were throwing stones at a fortress. They were bringing matches to fight a wildfire. They were trying to curse someone who is divinely favored and cosmically protected. And the protection around you didn't just block their attacks, it sent everything back to them with interest, like a spiritual boomerang, like a mirror that reflects everything back to the sender. Every curse they spoke over you landed on their own heads. Every trap they set for you became a trap they fell into. Every dark thing they wished on you manifested in their own lives. And it happened so fast they couldn't even connect the dots at first. Suddenly people in their circle started getting sick. Mysterious illnesses that doctors couldn't diagnose, chronic pain that wouldn't respond to treatment, mental breakdowns that came out of nowhere. Suddenly relationships started falling apart, marriages ending after years of seeming stable, families divided over nothing, friendships destroyed by betrayal. Suddenly money started disappearing, jobs lost for no clear reason, businesses failing despite good products, investments collapsing unexpectedly. Suddenly legal problems started popping up. Old situations resurfacing that they thought were buried, new investigations opening into things they thought they got away with, warrants being issued, court dates being scheduled, lawyers being needed, and they couldn't figure out why everything in their lives was turning to ashes. They couldn't understand why everything they touched was crumbling. They kept asking the practitioners what was wrong. They kept demanding to know why the magic wasn't working. And some of the practitioners started refusing to work with them anymore, started saying you were too protected, started warning them to leave you alone before things got worse. Meanwhile, you were getting messages, not from them, from something higher. Your intuition started screaming at you, louder than it ever had before. You couldn't ignore it, even when you tried. You started having dreams, vivid nightmares that showed you things you didn't want to see. Dreams where you saw people you trusted doing things behind your back. Dreams where you felt trapped or chased or in danger. Dreams that woke you up in the middle of the night with your heart pounding. You started feeling heavy around certain people, like their energy was weighing you down, like being near them was draining you, like your body physically rejected their presence even when your mind was trying to rationalize staying. You'd leave interactions with them feeling exhausted, depleted, like they'd taken something from you, and you couldn't explain it, but you knew something was wrong. And something in you said run, not walk, run. Something in you said get out now, don't wait, don't gather more evidence, don't try to understand it, just go. Something in you said these people are not who they pretend to be. These situations are not what they appear to be. This entire environment is toxic and dangerous, and you need to extract yourself immediately. Maybe you didn't have proof. Maybe you couldn't explain it to anyone who would understand. Maybe people in your life thought you were overreacting when you suddenly cut ties, when you moved away without much notice, when you blocked numbers without explanation, when you deleted social media accounts overnight, when you changed your whole life based on what seemed like paranoia or anxiety. They thought you were being dramatic. They thought you were making rash decisions. They thought you needed therapy or medication or someone to talk you down. But you knew, your spirit knew, your body knew, your ancestors were warning you through every channel they had access to. Your angels were guiding you away from danger, using whatever methods would get your attention. And you trusted that knowing over everything else, over logic, over appearances, over other people's opinions, over your own desire to have proof before making moves. You trusted the invisible guidance over the visible circumstances. That decision saved your life, literally, not figuratively, literally, because what they had planned for you wasn't just spiritual attacks. Some of them in those meetings were discussing physical harm. They were making plans for ways to make you disappear, to make it look like an accident, so nobody would investigate, to make it look like suicide, so people would think you were unstable, to kidnap you and take you somewhere nobody would find you until it was too late. This wasn't just about blocking your blessings or stealing your opportunities. This was about erasing you completely from the picture, removing you as a threat or obstacle or source of envy. And the only reason it didn't happen is because you left before their plans could fully form. You moved before they could execute. You disappeared from their reach before the trap could close. Your obedience to your intuition interrupted their timeline. Your willingness to look crazy to other people in order to save yourself disrupted their entire operation. And that's when everything started falling apart for them. That's when the groups started turning on each other. The ones who wanted out started blaming the ones who brought them in. The ones who lost the most started accusing the leader of lying about how easy this would be. The leader started claiming they never really wanted to do this, but got pressured by the group. People started exposing each other's secrets. They started threatening each other. They started wondering if someone in the circle had snitched or was working with authorities or had somehow brought this curse on all of them. The unity that existed when everyone was focused on destroying you completely disintegrated because there's no honor among people who operate in darkness. There's no real loyalty, there's no genuine love. A twisted purpose brought them together, and now they're experiencing what always happens to groups like that. They turn on each other, they devour each other, they destroy each other. And the person who was the most confident about this whole thing, the one who convinced everyone else, is now the most hated person in the room. The accusations are getting vicious. Someone is being blamed for not following the ritual instructions correctly, which supposedly caused the backfire. Someone else is being accused of secretly working against the group from the beginning. Another person is suspected of being a plant, someone who infiltrated specifically to sabotage them. The paranoia has reached levels where they're accusing each other of being agents sent by you, even though you don't even know the full extent of what they did. One person is claiming that another person stole money that was supposed to go to practitioners, that the rituals failed because they were underfunded, because someone pocketed the cash. Another is saying that someone in the group has been in contact with you this whole time, feeding you information, warning you about their plans. The trust is completely gone. Every conversation is laced with suspicion. Every interaction is analyzed for hidden motives. Some of them are threatening to expose the others publicly, to go to authorities with evidence of what the group has done, to release screenshots and recordings that prove everyone's involvement. They're using these threats as leverage, trying to force others to take the blame, trying to position themselves as less guilty. But the threats are mutual. Everyone has dirt on everyone. Everyone participated in things they don't want coming to light. So it's a standoff where everyone has a gun pointed at everyone else. The person who recruited the most people is now being called a manipulator who brainwashed vulnerable individuals. The person who put up the most money is demanding refunds and threatening lawsuits. The person who had the most contact with practitioners is being blamed for choosing incompetent workers. The person who did the most research on you is being accused of becoming obsessed to the point of ruining the operation. Everyone has a scapegoat. Everyone has someone they're trying to throw under the bus. The exposure is coming. Some of what they did is about to become public knowledge. Some of their crimes are about to hit the news. Some of their secrets are about to be revealed in ways that will shock everyone who thought these were good people. Because when you come against someone who is genuinely protected and chosen, you don't just face spiritual consequences, you face earthly consequences too. Your protection is active. It doesn't just defend you, it also exposes your enemies. There are investigations happening right now that they don't even know about. There are people who witness things and are coming forward. There are digital footprints that can't be erased. There are financial records that show what they spent money on. There are testimonies from the practitioners they hired who are now willing to talk to save themselves. Everything they did in secret is about to be dragged into the light, and when it happens, it's going to be devastating for them. People who trusted them are going to feel betrayed. People who defended them are going to feel stupid. People who looked up to them are going to be disgusted. Their reputations are going to be destroyed. Their careers might be over. Their relationships will definitely be damaged. And some of them might actually go to jail, because some of what they did wasn't just spiritually wrong, it was legally criminal, stalking, harassment, conspiracy, fraud, maybe worse. And they can feel it coming. That's part of what's making them turn on each other so viciously. They know exposure is inevitable. They know someone is going to talk. They know evidence exists that they can't destroy. So now it's a race to control the narrative. Everyone wants to be the first to tell their version of events. Everyone wants to minimize their own role while maximizing everyone else's guilt. Everyone wants to be seen as the victim who was manipulated rather than the perpetrator who made choices. Now let me put you onto something real. Destiny Engine. I built this because I was done watching chosen ones get dragged through betrayal, isolation and attacks while their enemies strutted around unchecked. I want to help you accelerate the speed of your divine justice and step fully into your purpose. And the beauty of it, you don't even have to lift a finger. Destiny Engine takes their downfall and flips it into your rise. This isn't another meditation app. It's declassified consciousness technology, the same mind programming tools your enemies once used to install fear, competition and scarcity, re-engineered to restore your sovereignty and align you with the cooperative, upgraded operating framework. It generates personalized sequences mapped to your divine purpose. The hardest thing you'll do is put on headphones, press play and watch your enemies keep digging their own grave. The collective upgrade is underway. Start your Destiny Engine for $1 today and turn everything they did to break you into fuel for your rise. Link in the description. Some of them are already reaching out to lawyers, trying to figure out what they can be charged with, trying to understand what kind of legal exposure they have, trying to prepare defenses before accusations even become public. The smarter ones know that once this breaks open, once the first domino falls, everything is going to cascade. One person getting exposed will lead to others. One crime coming to light will reveal connected crimes. One victim speaking up will encourage other victims to come forward. Because here's something they're just now realizing. You weren't their only target. You might have been their main focus recently, but they've done this before. They've targeted other people. They've ruined other lives. They've performed these same dark rituals against other individuals who threatened them, or had something they wanted, or simply existed in a way that made them jealous. And all of those people are about to become relevant again. Those previous victims are going to hear about what happened with you. They're going to see the exposure starting. They're going to recognize the patterns. They're going to realize they weren't alone in being attacked by this group. And they're going to come forward with their own stories, their own evidence, their own testimonies about what these people are capable of. The scope of what they've done is about to be revealed in full. There's one person in the group who is absolutely terrified right now. Someone who had real feelings for you at some point. Someone who got caught up in this group and went along with things they never fully believed in. This person is being eaten alive by guilt. They're having nightmares every night. They're seeing your face when they close their eyes. They're being tormented by the memory of what they participated in. And they're thinking about reaching out to you, thinking about confessing, thinking about warning you about the others, not because they're truly sorry, not because they genuinely want to make amends, but because they're scared. They see the walls closing in. They see the consequences accelerating. They see the group falling apart, and they're trying to position themselves as less guilty than the rest. They want to be the one who tells the truth, so maybe the karma will be lighter on them. They want to separate themselves from the others, so maybe they won't lose everything. They're watching the others in the group self-destruct and thinking they're smarter, thinking they can escape the same fate by getting ahead of the exposure, by controlling their own narrative, by reaching out to you first and hoping you'll see them as different from the rest, hoping you'll forgive them, hoping you'll speak on their behalf when everything comes to light. You don't need their confession. You don't need their apology. You don't need their explanation. You already won. You already escaped. You already moved on. What they do or don't do at this point is completely irrelevant to your journey. Whether they confess or stay silent, whether they face public consequences or suffer in private, whether they turn on each other or somehow reconcile, none of it affects your destiny. You're already in your next chapter. You're already blessed. You're already protected. You're already winning. Some of them were after your inheritance, spiritual or physical. They saw blessings coming your way, and they wanted to intercept them. They saw opportunities opening for you, and they wanted to block them. They saw favor on your life, and they wanted to redirect it to themselves. They literally thought they could steal what the universe assigned to you. They thought they could perform rituals and make your blessings transfer to them. They thought they could remove you from the picture and step into the space you were supposed to occupy. That's why some of them were studying your gifts. That's why they were watching your content. That's why they were analyzing your strategies. They weren't admiring you. They were trying to duplicate you, trying to replace you, trying to become you while simultaneously destroying you. It's the most twisted form of envy. They wanted what you had, but they also wanted you to have nothing. They wanted your life, but they wanted you gone. They convinced themselves that if they could just eliminate you, all your blessings would somehow become available to them. Like blessings are transferable, like favor is up for grabs, like destiny can be stolen if you're ruthless enough. They didn't understand that what you have is specifically designed for you, calibrated to your frequency, aligned with your purpose, connected to your bloodline. It wouldn't work for them even if they could steal it. It would reject them like a body rejects an incompatible organ. But they were too deluded to see that, too consumed by jealousy to think clearly. They actually believed they could take your place, that they could walk into your blessings, that they could occupy your space in the universe. They spent time imagining what their lives would be like once you were out of the way, planning how they'd use the opportunities that were meant for you, fantasizing about having the success you were building. And now they're watching the exact opposite happen. Now they're watching their own wealth disappear, their own opportunities dry up, their own favor evaporate. Everything they tried to steal from you is being removed from them. Everything they tried to block for you is manifesting for you anyway. Everything they invested in trying to harm you is coming back as a curse on their own finances. They're going broke trying to destroy someone who is financially protected by divine decree. The money they spent on practitioners is money they'll never get back. The money they lost through backfire is money they'll never recover. The opportunities they missed while obsessing over you are opportunities that won't come around again. They bankrupted themselves spiritually, emotionally, and financially, all in service of trying to harm you. If they had spent all that time, energy, and money on building themselves up instead of tearing you down, they might actually have something to show for it. If they had invested in their own growth instead of your destruction, they might be successful. If they had focused on their own blessings instead of coveting yours, they might be blessed. But they chose the path of darkness, and that path always leads to loss. Meanwhile, you're about to experience a level of blessing that's going to shock you. The universe doesn't just protect you, it compensates you. It pays you back for everything you endured, for every tear you cried while they were attacking you, for every sleepless night you spent feeling anxious without knowing why, for every moment of confusion when you felt like something was wrong but couldn't prove it. For every attack you survived without even knowing you were under attack, for every trap you avoided by following your intuition, you're about to receive vindication so clear that there will be no doubt about who was right and who was wrong. You're about to see doors open that were supposedly closed, doors that required connections you didn't have, doors that required qualifications you didn't meet, doors that required timing that seemed off. All of those doors are about to swing wide open for you. You're about to receive opportunities that seemed impossible, opportunities you didn't even apply for, opportunities that find you instead of you having to chase them, opportunities that feel tailor-made for your specific gifts and talents. You're about to connect with people who change everything, people who see your value immediately, people who want to invest in you, people who want to mentor you, people who want to collaborate with you, people who have the resources and connections to take you to the next level. And these connections are going to happen effortlessly. You're not going to have to force them or manipulate them or convince anyone of your worth. They're going to see it on their own and pursue you. Money is coming to you from unexpected sources, large amounts, lump sums that change your financial situation overnight. Inheritances from relatives you didn't know had left you anything, settlements from situations you'd forgotten about, business deals that materialize out of nowhere, investments paying off in ways you didn't anticipate, things you forgot about suddenly producing fruit, random checks arriving in the mail, refunds and rebates and bonuses you weren't expecting, and it's all going to happen right around the time their financial collapse becomes complete. You're going to be rising while they're falling. You're going to be gaining while they're losing. You're going to be celebrated while they're being exposed. The contrast is going to be so obvious that even people who doubted you will have to acknowledge that you were telling the truth. Even people who thought you were paranoid will have to admit you were right. Even people who defended them will have to face the fact that they were fooled. Your gifts are about to be recognized on levels you didn't think possible. Platforms you didn't think you could access are going to open up. Media opportunities, speaking engagements, partnerships with brands and organizations. People you didn't think would notice you are going to reach out. Influencers, executives, decision makers, gatekeepers who usually keep gates closed are going to open them for you. Opportunities you didn't think you qualified for are going to be offered, and every single one of these blessings is going to feel like confirmation that you made the right choice when you walked away. So here's where we are. They're in a room fighting about who's to blame for the disaster they created. You're stepping into a season of unprecedented favor. They're dealing with consequences that keep multiplying. You're experiencing blessings that keep accelerating. They're turning on each other like animals. You're surrounded by people who genuinely love and support you. They're losing everything they tried to protect by attacking you. You're gaining everything they tried to prevent you from having. This is not the time for you to feel sorry for them. This is not the time for compassion toward people who showed you none. This is not the time to rescue people who tried to destroy you. Let them fight. Let them blame each other. Let them face what they created. Your job is to keep walking forward. Your job is to receive the blessings that are coming. Your job is to step fully into the destiny they tried to derail. Your job is to live so well that it becomes obvious to everyone that you were never the problem. They were. You're entering a new era. An era where your light shines without anyone trying to dim it. An era where your gifts are celebrated instead of attacked. An era where your peace is protected instead of disturbed. An era where the people around you genuinely want you to win instead of secretly plotting your downfall. This is your season of restoration, of vindication, of multiplication, of divine favor that can't be blocked by human effort or dark magic. The universe is making sure you're compensated for everything. For every moment of anxiety they caused, for every nightmare you had because of their attacks, for every time you questioned yourself because of their manipulation, for every opportunity they tried to block, for every relationship they tried to poison, for every blessing they tried to steal. You're getting it all back multiplied, increased, upgraded, better than it would have been if they had never interfered. And while you're walking in that blessing, they'll still be in that room, still fighting, still blaming, still suffering, still trying to figure out how everything went so wrong, still wondering how someone they thought was an easy target turned out to be untouchable. Still realizing too late that they didn't just attack a person, they attacked someone who carries divine protection, someone who has ancestral warriors fighting on their behalf, someone who has angels assigned to their destiny, someone who is chosen for a purpose that cannot be stopped by jealous people with twisted hearts. You were never supposed to be defeated by these people. You were always supposed to walk through this situation and come out stronger. You were always supposed to survive what they threw at you and thrive in spite of their hatred. The attacks you endured were actually setting you up for the blessings you're about to receive. The warfare you experienced was actually preparing you for the warfare you're equipped to help others through. The darkness you escaped is giving you authority to speak light into situations others can't navigate. Everything they meant for your harm is being converted into fuel for your purpose. Every attack is becoming a testimony. Every trap is becoming a teaching moment. Every curse is becoming a catalyst for breakthrough. You're not just surviving what they did, you're using what they did as a platform to help others who are going through similar attacks. Your story is becoming a weapon against the kingdom of darkness. So keep walking, keep trusting, keep believing. The best is yet to come. The blessings are just beginning. The favor is just starting to manifest. The doors are just beginning to open. And those people who tried to stop you, they're already in your past, already irrelevant, already defeated by their own wickedness. You don't even need to look back. You don't even need to think about them, because while they're trapped in the consequences of what they did, you're free, you're clear, you're blessed, you're chosen, you're protected, and you're about to step into a level of success that will make all of this make perfect sense. Trust the process, trust your protection, trust your intuition, trust your guidance, trust yourself. You already won. Now go collect your prize.